Alright, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't have houseplants. I have a plant house. Seriously though, this is insane. I've been into plants my whole life. But like most of us, COVID mania really kicked it into high gear. My collection has waxed and waned over time and is usually a manifestation of my current mood and state of mind. During my days of boredom and deep depression during COVID, my collection increased dramatically as I tried to fill the void. In recent years, my collection has slimmed down to only the plants I absolutely love and would be legitimately sad if I got rid of them. Let's face it, plants grow. And the more plants you keep, the less room you'll have as they get bigger. When it comes to my collection these days, I am very mindful of aesthetics. I analyze my ratios of big plants to small plants, trailing plants to climbing plants, green plants to colorful plants, bushy plants to narrow plants. And I find myself doing consistent redecorating as my plants grow and change in shape. I also avoid acquiring plants that look just a little too similar to one another. I have to have variability. Plants also have to be easy for me to care for in my environment and on my schedule. I can't be dealing with a bunch of stress-inducing drama queens. I've shed those from my collection over time, keeping only the reliable ones that embellish my living space and improve my quality of life. My plants, just like any other hobby, have to bring me joy. They have to make me smile, because on those days that are hard to get through, I can look around my home, take in my indoor garden oasis, and think to myself, wow, what a beautiful home I live in. So in this video, I'm gonna break down all the rules I follow when it comes to planterior design. So let's get right into it. Create empty space. That sounds contradictory because we kind of get into a Pokemon phase where we're like, we have to collect all the plants we can. But a home filled with plants walks a fine line between a dreamy paradise and a cluttered, energy-sucking mess of green. Space between your plants looks more deliberate, tranquil, and design-focused. If you have a large collection that you feel is cluttering your space, some options are a grow tent to put some plants out of sight, like a closet, a spare room, or a garage. Planting multiple plants with similar care in the same pot in a stylistic way. And lastly, creating a plant room or plant space, if possible, to put the bulk of your collection. Intentionally grouping plants together of varying sizes, textures, patterns, colors, plants together that stand out and don't blend into each other. Plants too similar in aesthetic next to each other lose their individuality and don't stand out. You're not able to appreciate their beauty, so group plants that complement each other. Another thing I do when it comes to specific shelves or displays, I always do groups of 3 or 5. 1 just seems too lonely, and 2s and 4s and 6s just feel too, I don't know, matchy and orderly or something. You need odd numbers. There's some science to it about how humans prefer odd numbers or so, I don't know, I ain't no scientist, but yeah, our eyes prefer odd numbers to even. I don't know why, but you just gotta go with it. Okay, when it comes to grow lights, don't even think about getting those god-awful purple ones or ones that are really harsh on the eyes. Know what kind of light you want. Do you want that bright, almost white light that looks very bright and clean? Or do you want some of that softer, warmer, sunlight imitating light? Think about the aesthetic you want and what will look best in your home. Spending more money upfront for nice, aesthetically pleasing grow lights will save you a lot of hassle in the future and avoid multiple purchases. Next, showcase your plants and your collection as a whole as works of art. Instead of ugly moss poles and plastic stakes, use twigs or driftwood as plant stakes. Next thing to consider, who is the star? The plant or the pot? If the pot is very colorful and bright and showy and noisy, then the plant inside that pot can't be equally as visually noisy. You feel me? It's just too much to look at. A plant that is visually more tame and simple will complement a more noisy pot. Meanwhile, a really colorful, showy plant probably would look best in just a simple white or black pot. Oh, and that leads into the next thing. Plant dark colored plants in light pots. Plant lighter colored plants in dark pots. This way you're able to see the plant and the foliage, or the flowers if it has flowers, for what they are. If you have a black plant in a black pot, it'll just look too matchy, and you're not really going to be able to appreciate the plant for what it is. And finally, when it comes to pots, make sure they complement your existing furniture and home aesthetic. If they don't, it's just going to look like an eyesore. It has to fit your style. There's modern pots, there's gaudy pots, there's the all terracotta look, there's the all white look. It's really up to you to play around and see what you like and what looks best in your home. But you can't have a little bit of everything. It's gotta feel like it fits into your home. Next up, combine plants and decor seamlessly. I mean, hey, we're displaying them as works of art, right? So let's display them with other works of art. Like this thing that I got from West Elm that I call my because that's what it looks like visually to me. It just looks like a so that's what that is. So rather than have a shelf where it's just plant, you can have plant, piece of art, plant, you know, a few books or something that maybe you read over time, and then another plant, and then maybe something that you got on vacation, and then a plant. You know, like just, you gotta play around a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Maybe drape trailing plants over furniture to break up those straight lines. When it comes to greenery, there's virtually no such thing as a straight line. I can't think of any plants in my collection that have any straight lines. And that's why I love displaying them on shelves and adjacent to furniture that have very clear-cut lines. They're squares, rectangles. I don't really have any curvy, free-flowing architecture in my apartment because, frankly, I leave that to the plants. I allow my plants visually to break up those harsh lines. The contrast is brilliant. Also, be sure to use vertical space, people. Hanging plants are just so charming and romantic. When it comes to windowsills, place small plants spaced out in windowsills. And finally, guys, think of the big picture. Walk out your front door, then walk right back in, and really look at your space. Look at your home. See how your home greets your guests. How does the mood and the vibe greet your guests? Visually, is it super noisy? Is it too much? Is it just enough? Is it not enough? Are there too many colorful plants next to each other? You might need to spread them out. You don't want all of your showstoppers in one place. Amidst all of that greenery, you want little pops of color here and there, right? And guests that come into your home will appreciate that. You want a big picture, but you also want accents within that big picture. Of course, with any collector hobby, it can start to feel like Pokemon or you gotta catch them all. There's a lot of FOMO created by social media, and in a hyper-materialistic world, even plants are seen as elitist status symbols, which I find repulsive. Plants should not be treated as luxury products. They should remind us of how precious nature is, and how far we have removed ourselves from it. They should inspire us. Personally, my plants are my biggest source of motivation. Think about it. When the sun rises, they don't hit the snooze button. They start working at the crack of dawn, photosynthesizing so that they can continue to grow. Heck, they're working at night too. And they're not trying to be prettier than the plant next to them. Their only mission in their life is to survive, to thrive, and above all, reach their absolute greatest potential. Hopefully this video has made you think about your plants in a new way. If you liked this video, please interact with it. It lets me know if I'm making good content. And I will see you guys in the next one. This has been Jake, also known as Plant Gay for Life. Bye-bye.